Welcome to the Look Who It Is podcast, where we sit down with artists to talk music, life, and all the stories in between. Now here's your host, Dane Engel.
Hey everyone, today I'm joined by Lawrence Coleman III, a guitarist, songwriter, and live streamer who's built a community of nearly 500,000 followers with his Tool covers and live performances online.
Yeah, I'm Lawrence Coleman III. I've been a musician my whole life. I started playing guitar around like 14 years old and was in a couple of like tiny little garage bands before I got hooked up with an actual real professional band. I'm obsessed with I was obsessed with the lifestyle, the whole thing of just being in a band, the camaraderie. I think a lot of that comes from, wanting to hang out with friends and other people all the time was really an escape from depression. Now looking back, because I'm 43 now, so been at this a while. And I really fell in love with guitar and that's all I wanted to do. So I kind of picked it up pretty quickly for the level that I'm at. I'm not, a John Petrucci shredder, but I have my own thing that I do and just my little parts of guitar playing that, I excel in pretty good. I have zero music theory knowledge yet. I can learn music very quickly. I'm very much attached to the nuances of music. What I do currently now, out of necessity, was I stream now on TikTok and YouTube, Twitch, and now back to Instagram. And really, I'm only doing that because when COVID happened, my live touring days, they just got shut down. Everything. The lockdowns happened. A lot of venues that I played were starting to close, 6 feet social distancing, all of that. And it was like you couldn't rehearse, you couldn't practice. So everything kind of like went on pause. And when I would literally, from when I started playing with that professional band I was just telling you about, from that point forward, I was just bands. Like it was just being in a band, living the lifestyle and touring and work playing colleges, playing the local bars, playing the clubs all around, getting outside of Long Island where I was from and where I started all this. And so from those years, from 96 moving into 2000, 2002, when I really started touring heavily and I moved across the country, you know, I, for the next 15 years, it was all music, just bands, tours, the whole nine, just living it. If one band ended, it was learning the next band's stuff, getting into that, and ripped roaring. So that was all great and grand. It took me all around the country, took me some great venues. I met some amazing people, great relationships. But I've developed being an alcoholic. I did my fair share of experimentations with drugs and picked up a pretty nasty habit with that along the way. But maintained, never really went full Morrison on the situation, as I like to say. But messed up enough where it's noticeable. You lost some relationships. I probably squandered some good opportunities because certain things. But through all of it, it was all music. So then when COVID happened, COVID, like that closed it down. So then I start drinking more. I'm stuck in my apartment with my fiancée. We really can't do anything. I'm still just sitting in my room, something similar to this, just playing guitar, learning. I think at the time I was just trying to learn Lamb of God. I was like, I'm gonna go back to my metal days and I'm gonna learn some Lamb of God. So I was live on TikTok learning Lamb of God, and one or two people started coming in the room, and then I go, then a week or two in, I go live again. I got 4 or 5 people in the room watching, and I was like, holy shit, these people are like coming in to watch music, because everybody had gone to the internet at that point. Like, everybody was trying to get their vice out of the internet because their clubs were closed. Their just going outside was so weird. Everyone had masks. It was just so weird. So everyone was kind of going right to their phones, just getting very recluse in the apartment and being on the phone, which at the time was a Chinese spyware app. That was the big thing. And I at first I didn't even get the app because I was believing some of the idiots that I knew that were like, yeah, TikTok's like Snapchat, bro. It's just for the kids, we don't need it. So I was like, all right, yeah, that makes sense. But then, you're sitting on your couch day 14, you're not allowed to leave, and I'm washing my vegetables to make sure they're not covered in COVID. I was like, I'm going to download this app. And I'm I love comedy. I'm always been the class clown. And, again, this is something else that develops out of depression. And so, making comedy videos, making funny skits. I've been doing that since I was in high school. And again, I'm 43. This is before the internet. I was making videos on VHS tapes, before any of this stuff, and before YouTube and before your influencers. I was a friggin' influencer to my family, and to my friends, and to like the random kids, that were weird like me in high school. So that I always, as soon when cell phones came around, I'd be making videos on cell phones when Vine popped up, Instagram, Facebook, MySpace, all of them. I was always the one. As soon as I had the ability to record myself, I'm narcissistic as fuck. So I was just like, yeah, here's a video of this, here's a video of that. Always trying to be creative with it. So, you know, when I started to put all these things together after COVID and seeing everyone going into their phones and looking for a place to get live music, I was like, oh, I'm like, this is great. I'm like, all right, I'm going to put together a little set list. And instead of sitting in a chair, I'm going to stand up because I want to play with my pedals. I'm a pedal player 100%. So I got my rig, I got my pedals. So I'm like, I'm gonna put my rig in the corner here. I'm gonna put this phone up a little bit higher, and you can see me. I'm playing now, and I got my pedals. And I was playing Incubus, Lamb of God, Deftones, Corn, all the stuff I loved playing in high school. Because in high school I was playing a lot of everything. You're playing everything. But then when I got in original bands, I really dove into writing. So then I just was working on just writing, just finding my chops. Like just writing. If it sounded good to me, that was awesome. And I got lucky. I consider it lucky where I'm on a bunch of albums. Maybe 6 or 7 widely distributed albums that were out over the years that real producers were like, I love that riff. I love that song. Well, let's put it. They put it on the record, and that was a huge accomplishment for me as a person. So like for all those years, I wasn't playing anybody else's music. I was just writing and playing the original music that I was writing and whatever band I was with at that time. And you learn like the random cover. When I was playing with Eve to Adam in the years of 2015 to like 2017, I learned like, I had to relearn not Hey Man Nice Shot by Filter. Like that was the extent, you're just learning a 1-2 quick little cover. So when I started getting into streaming, I really just was like, I'm going to bring back all these old covers that I didn't know how to play. And back then you couldn't get the notation or the tablatures as easily as you can get today. Like learning music is way easier because there's so many avenues to go down to find accurate ways to, how is How is Jerry Cantrell playing this solo? Well, YouTube has a billion videos of Jerry Cantrell playing the solo, so it don't get any more accurate than that, you know. So once I really started to see all that, I was like, oh, this is great. So I'm going back into music, and I'm relearning this Deftones album, relearning this, just downloading, getting it all in. And while I'm doing that, I'm going live, practicing it, I'm building up this audience. And then that turned into we're almost at 5 years ago. So then I threw in 46 and 2 and Sober by Tool into my set list. I started to notice every time I played those songs, man, the room would just start filling up. Like we were getting like I was playing like 500, 700 people. I was like, what the fuck is going on here? You know, this is crazy. And they were real. We love the Tool, learn more Tool, learn more Tool. And I only had a handful in my art in the arsenal there at that point, and I wasn't playing it accurately because this was like I learned it when I was at 16, you know, 46 and 2. I think that was the first time I started learning that. So then I really widely expanded that into just a Tool list. So over the past 5 years, I'm up to 35 songs now that I perform, and now which has turned into I basically built my little corner of a stage where I perform, and it's fully DMX lighting, fully integrated with a multi-stream system where I'm going out to multiple platforms at once. Just a really cool look. I got a nice projection screen that I can project visuals during the show. And I really started through that understanding through some of the messages and the wonderful things people have sent me, and gifts and donations and things of that nature, that, you know, people who can't afford to go see Tool, or people that got disabilities, social anxiety, can't go to shows, couldn't go to shows because of a COVID, were coming to my live to get their rocks off musically, and they were bringing their friends, and then they were sitting there, because you get analytics on TikTok, and when you do a live there, you know, when you're done, it tells you how many people are there, the whole nine, and it tells you watch time. And I'm sitting here. My stream to date right now is 4 hours minimum. Always, it's from 7 to 11 o'clock. You can count on it. 4 hours. I never end early. And we're playing tunes. Tool songs are like an hour long each. You know what I mean? But you know, you'll get about 15, 16 tunes in there in between little antics. I like to put on a little show, comedy stuff for that, you know, like dancing. I like to make an general ass out of myself for the benefit of humor, for the people, like when we hit a live goal or something, you know, if I've hit my live goal for the live, we'll get weird. I have a skeleton that I dance with. I started meeting a lot of these people, and hearing a lot of these stories, and understanding, you know, all these people from different walks of life that were really appreciating what I'm doing, and what I was doing musically. And I was like, wow, this is insane. So I really leaned into it, and you know, now we're, like I said, we're close to 5 years on it. And it's been a wild roller coaster. It has its extreme ups and downs, though. Unfortunately, you know, you're dealing with tech. You're dealing with an app, an algorithm. You are dealing with corporate greed to some extent. You know, this app, its main goal is to make money. You know, that's what that app wants to do. Wants to push. It's kind of turned into a mall. You know, it's every other swipe is somebody trying to sell something, and it's kind of now worse than what TV was, because TV, at least you had major production companies that would, you pay a good amount of money as a company to pay a production company to make your video for your product. Or now today, you've got like unqualified, no personality Joe Blow trying to sell you a Lakato wireless guitar unit that is garbage. You know, and it's everywhere. So over the 5 years that I've been on that app, it wasn't like that in the beginning, and the audience was different and more engaged. I just feel like anybody that is force fed something over and over and over again, eventually, even if you loved it in the very beginning, you're gonna find a distaste for that fairly quickly, and that's what I see the culture, is today is oversaturation of everything. It's just like too much, too much. To the point where like I used to go live maybe like 5 times a week, once a day you'd see me on there, and it's just too much. It's even too much for me to look at myself because this is how streaming goes. You know what I mean? It's like when
Right.
I'm playing, I see the people's names and their comments, but I don't see their faces. It's not like a live show where I'm getting that back. I'm just seeing myself and their comments. So, if you have major insecurities like me, you're constantly like, okay, I wear a lot of costumes and shit to kind of like, uh, you know, battle that, those feelings. It's easy to kind of escape yourself when you're in a costume, or you're in character doing something. Um, but from my personal perspective as a musician, starting back in the 90s to now, I mean, things are so different. And it's like, and I don't know if you play anything yourself, but it's like, it is so different. It is like you remember like old movies, like I think there was a scene in like Pee Wee Herman's Big Adventure where bands used to play behind cages because if you sucked, people were gonna start throwing shit at you. You know what I mean? And if you sucked, you wouldn't go play live because you sucked and you didn't want people to know you sucked. So you would work extra hard to not suck. And part of my lack of good words for this stuff, but I just like to use the one word suck. It's kind of really just generalize everything. Um, if I suck at something, I'm not really putting it out there where like now it just kind of feels like we live in this world that's like, no, no, man, it's okay to suck. Matter of fact, you should go live even more because you suck. You might get better, or you might just continue to amplify your suckness. There's like that to me is like wrong. I think that like really hurts your learning ability, is just like putting yourself out there because I'm this person. It's like because I should be able to suck and put myself out there. It's like, yes, you totally can, but don't expect the growth. And when I constantly see creators on the app in this world, I guess a better way to explain it, when I was in a professional band that like put our money into our gear, put our time into our practice, it showed. You'd watch that band play next to the band that doesn't put time into practice, doesn't put stuff into their gear, is screwing around. The experience, whether it's live in front of them there or live on a phone, is the same thing to me. You know, if I'm watching you and you're just half-assing it, I'm not going to stay and hang out and watch you live. Probably not going to follow you. Probably not going to promote your stuff because I just don't see the benefit of it. I don't see the benefit of telling somebody who sucks they're doing a really great job because you're just going to motivate them. Oh, now I must be doing it right. This is how it goes. No, when I was playing and I was growing up, if I was doing something wrong, I thank the other players and the people that were older than me, being like, bro, that's not how you do that. Plug your guitar cord through your strap and up to your guitar because if you step on it and pull it out in front of you on stage, you're gonna look like an idiot. Oh, okay. That makes total sense. But then I got guys on TikTok that are standing there with their guitar plugged in the wrong way, trying to sell me a wireless as if they know what the hell they're talking about. And it's like, this is where we live. This is the time I'm living in right now. I'm
And
not
then
gonna buy that wireless, not because that kid didn't sell me on it. because I have almost 30 years of experience working with different wirelesses, and I know that wireless is garbage.
And it saturates the people who are actually putting out good stuff. They're
That's
hidden in all that.
Yeah, right. Because if you're a guitar player and you're looking for other cool guitar players, and it's just like suck, 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 the good guy won't even get a swipe sometimes because you just kind of get lumped into that. And this goes right back to what I said earlier. It's just force fed. It's just force fed. Everyone has a platform today, and I love that everyone has a voice to be able to express themselves and do their thing. It's a beautiful thing. I just feel like it needs more direction. And we're not pumping out, in my opinion, which is going to probably be wildly different than others. My opinion, you're not pumping out quality content because everyone's just struggling to pump out something because these apps are forcing you. You got to post 6 to 10 times a day. There is nothing in my life that's 6 to 10 times a day that interesting that I got to post. I mean, you're just going to lose your own followers. And honestly, if anybody is out there wanting more and more and more and more of your videos after seeing 100 of your videos already in a day, I question the mental health on the edge of that person. It's like, why do you want to see so much of that person? In the interview last night, I said the one thing about social media I didn't like that it did was I really enjoyed back when I was watching movies. I really enjoyed the mystery of what the actor does when he's not on set. Like what's going on? What's Brad Pitt doing when he's not crushing it in these films? Then when I found out what Brad Pitt eats for freaking breakfast every other day, like it ruined it for me, and it just lost its luster. It was like it's too much. It was too much, and I found myself. You find yourself on these apps when you're in a creator position. You know, um, it's too much. It's too much. Like yesterday, I had to post yesterday because I was doing that interview with her live on it. So to try to help the algorithm, you want to put up a post. But honestly, if I wasn't doing that interview, it wasn't posted. Try not to post like garbage content anymore. I'm trying not to repost live gifting and like if you're familiar with how TikTok works and that thing, that's what everyone's doing now, and it's like it's just so much garbage that it makes you not want to turn the app on. And you watch your numbers just decrease not because of you or what you're doing or saying. It's what the whole thing is doing and saying, and people are just over it. And then you have extreme situations like what happened last week, which just tears communities completely apart. And as a musician, you want to be there for everybody to play, put on a happy face. Music is a wonderful escape for that kind of thing. But the app allows people to just come in and almost want to ruin that for you and for everybody. Yeah, everybody having a voice is a good thing. It's also kind of a bad thing when the regulation is just like you say and do whatever the hell you want just because you're allowed to.
And there's no face behind it either, so they feel
And
like they can say whatever they want and nobody will know
is.
who they are.
Yeah. Something that I deal with on TikTok. You come across a stalker or somebody that's a little too much, and you give them a chance, give them a chance, give them a chance, and you get to a point where you block them. The app makes it easy for that person to just literally make a new profile, a whole new thing, show right back up into my live, and these people go so far as to pretend they're someone else, start talking to me, they'll gift me. I'll do the same thing that I do to anybody that gifts me. I try to show everybody the same amount of respect. So now I'm showing that same amount of respect to somebody, totally different screen name, totally different thing. Now put yourself in my shoes. In one stream, I'm talking to close to 5,000 people. I'm acknowledging in live time while playing I'm trying to acknowledge these people, what they're saying, answer their questions, doing all this stuff to try to acknowledge this thing. And these people know that. And I'm like, you know, hey, fucking, yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. Oh, your gift's amazing. Only to find out this is this person I just blocked because they got really weird with me. And they've made 15 other profiles and have been doing this for months. The one-sidedness where they can see everything I do, and they're listening to everything I say, and they see my home and my studio and my shit where I don't see anything on them. I don't see anything. I don't know what these people look like, most of them, outside of my core group of that's on Discord with me, my moderators on TikTok, the followers that I know these people by name. They're excluded out of this, but there are a lot of people that I don't have. I don't know if you're a boy or girl or anything in between out there, and people have no problem lying. They have no problem lying. So the internet is crazy. And as a musician, navigating through that and trying to understand that, and then being very careful with anything I say or do. I steer clear of politics. I'm a stay in your lane kind of guy. You know what I mean? I stay in my lane because I'm not educated on enough. And to be completely honest, the older that I get, I just realize that the people that I thought were educated on it, they're not. And I'm sitting here like, we're kind of like raised to like just trust our elders when like, that is just not working out. That is just not, it has worked out for me in like ideas of skilled wisdom. Like I have no problem talking to a guitar player that's been playing for 7 years and being like, bro, tell me how to get out of the pentatonic box. But when it comes to running a group or a country, or an organization, and how to be fair and what's right and wrong. I just don't really know if the human has the ability to find the happy spot for everyone. So being a creator, a music creator, I like to stay in my goddamn lane. But people will find any way to take anything you talk about and turn it into what they want it to be. And I find that fascinating. I do it myself sometimes, but I feel like I'm smart enough to be like, I play my own devil's advocate a lot, even with like decision making. Like, all right, you're about to make this post. You think this is cool. What if you were Joe Blow, the accountant? Well, the accountant's probably not going to think it's cool, but am I really trying to get this across the table of the accountant? No, I'm trying to get this across to my music followers over here. So everything you do or say when you're being a musician now today, it was like, it's one thing when you're on stage in 2000 talking shit about something on the mic, like the one guy in the bar hears you like say something. He's like, yeah, brother, and you go on the rest of your life. That day was never ever recorded. Like you have no idea that ever happened. Where this is fully recorded. Everything I'm saying can be clipped up, snapped up, ripped apart, rearranged, twisted, the whole nine, and misconstrued and taken so many different ways by so many different people. And me trying to find the balance of that has been really, really tricky. I'm not even close to even mastered it. I'm very, very careful with things that I say and how I post. And, even as like dumb as it might sound, like I like none of my costumes even have a red hat because I'm afraid people are going to just take things the wrong way, you know. Although that I did vote Republican, it was nothing that I ever advertised or anything, but it was like when the whole world is doing it and like in it, they just assume, like if people assume that I was on one side or the other, they would send me messages like, "Yeah, fuck, that person can go to hell, right? Right?" And I'd be like, "I have no answer for this. Like, me and you are not on the same page, even though we might have voted for the exact same person. We are not on the same page. Like, I can physically be able to say that. So, as a musician, it's that's kind of hard, man. It's kind of hard. People will even take Tool music. I'll play a song, right in two. And I during the whole election process, every time I play that song, man, I got people putting up Kamala blue stuff. I got the Trump people coming out left and right with that. Everyone puts their own twist on it. Meanwhile, I just liked the song, and I wasn't even listening to the lyrics. I'm not even a lyric guy, but no one takes the time to ask me that. It's just they just assume, oh, he's playing right in two. Yeah, go, brother. It's like, no, guys, you're missing the fucking point. It's music. It's harmony. It's organized chaos that is beautiful, and it does something to me, and it does something to millions and millions of people across the globe. And it came long before Tool ever wrote a fucking lyric on paper. That's what I'm here celebrating. So there's been many points throughout continuing to be a musician on the internet and streaming where I've been like, do I keep doing this? Like, am I going to get myself in trouble doing this, or am I going to benefit for this? And if you've known me long enough, you know that the biggest risk is not taking one, and I end up going full steam ahead. I keep doing what I'm doing. I stay in my lane. I consistently just block and um, just push toxic presence out of my life. Simply, and it's been great. The past, since going through election, we had a rough spot there, where I went through a fairly decent cleansing of toxic people that were continually coming into my life and spreading hate, going into other people's messages and lying about me. People have gone so far as in to make fake screen names called LC3 is a compulsive liar. That was somebody's screen name. And it's like funny. It's like, how can I be a compulsive liar when if you there are thousands of hours of video footage of me sharing my life on like as a creator on TikTok. It's kind of hard. Like, I don't know how I can be lying about how my fiance has a spinal cord injury and has been very, very sick since she got COVID in 2020. Not sure I can lie about that. Just go watch the videos, people. You know, so many things. Not sure how I can lie about how I'm been diagnosed with Lyme disease for 15 months, and the vertigo has stopped me from being able to continue my jiu-jitsu career, for over a year. I'm actually going back next week. So in context of time with whatever's going on with this thing. But no, they're not really taking the time for you. No one really takes time for other people as much. I don't think is they're just more about first it's me, me, me. Oh, I'm sorry. You said something. So being a musician right now in 2025, going through these things is interesting. It's been interesting. And exciting too, because there's always the good and bad end of the spectrum, and the good part of the spectrum has been overwhelming. Really great relationships. I was able to build this, me and my fiance bought our house a few months ago, and, I saved up all my gifts and donations that I got on TikTok. I saved them up. I kept saving, and it allowed me to build this place, to run my production company. I have an LLC. I've had that up for now almost 3 years, and it's allowed me to now work out of my house while I can take care of her. Makes my scheduling on gigs that I'm not home a lot easier. And honestly, I made more money financially playing on TikTok than I did in all of my years touring in original bands on record labels. I just
Wow.
want to make that a point. And I'm not talking about an extreme amount of money. I was never in any bands that were super, super successful. I was in a band called Greyscale from 2002, 2001 to 2010. That band I did a record and a half with. We had national distribution through that. We did a lot of touring. Your the Warp Tour, Ozfest, a bunch of like second stage dealies, um, clubs all across the United States. Really cool people, skate parks, the whole nine. And then my singer's mother had gotten cancer, so we had quit that. We had put that band to bed in 2010. That record label drove us into the ground financially. We were bled, and they made some really poor decisions with just to name one. They bought merchandise, and they had our merchandise made overseas. This is back in 2006. So they had our merchandise made overseas. They had, and dude, when I tell you, a warehouse, you could fill one whole shelf unit of a warehouse with the boxes of CDs, gel cases, hoodies, t-shirts, wristbands, hats, necklaces, butane lighters, lanyards, all the same design. All the same design. So the first 3 tours, we were circling back to these cities with the same freaking merch, and our numbers started dropping financially because no one was going to buy that freaking $25 hoodie again because they already have it. And then we're pulling. I remember one of my last tours with that band, my manager was on the bus with his hand in a change jar at a Flying J trying to put gas in this thing in our bus. I was like, what the fuck? We got to sell more merch. We got to sell more merch. Nobody wants it. It's the same design. Oh, years later, after that, I end up working for the guy that owned the label. He owned a lighting company that was developing high intensity lighting for the military. My dexterity with my hands is really sick, so he got me into micro soldering. So I was building these flashlights and these battery packs and the circuit boards and everything. I was doing all the micro soldering and helping him develop these flashlights. And the warehouse that he was storing all the parts and everything were the CNC machines that we were using to machine everything. We built this flashlight from top down, like batteries, everything. But in the back corner of the warehouse was all the leftover merchandise that we never sold. I've already been out of the band now at this point, a year and a half, 2 years. The band's been done. I ended up, his business was starting to close, so they had to clear the warehouse out. They were going to throw all of it away. I ended up taking only about a third of it, and I brought it to the homeless shelter down there in Reno off 4th Street, and I donated it to them to clothe homeless people. So then for the next like 3 years, you'd see people like on the highway off ramp with a Greyscale t-shirt on, or a fucking I see a homeless guy pushing a cart with a Greyscale hat on, like, and a lot of the merch got thrown out. One of the biggest mistakes in my eyes. But back then, if I had said something, I was like 24, 25, 26. My manager was looking at me like some drunk kid, like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, bro. Like, let the adults talk. That's how they treated me. And I was like, okay. And then sure as shit, that imploded. They lost a shitload of money. We never got paid anything. I never got paid a dime for that record. I've never seen anything. And it's still selling units, apparently. somebody's collecting something on it, But that band imploded, and then while I was in Reno, I played in 2 other bands, and it was a lot of partying. Reno is nasty. Reno is nasty. If you, excuse me, Reno pre-COVID was nasty. The world is a different place post-COVID, and I haven't been. I moved further in the story, so I was in Reno until 2015. Then I got signed. I got an audition for Eve to Adam, which was a rock band based out of Queens in New York. So I came back to the East Coast in 2015. But Reno, I feel like I call it the golden years, man, because if you had 0 responsibilities and you were just out to party and you were in your 20s and you were single and you liked to drink and experiment, Reno was the place to be, man. I gotta tell you, I had some insane times and memories in that fine city. But moving forward, 2015, I got it with Eve to Adam. Eve to Adam was originally signed on Sony, and they had just left their contract with Sony when I had joined the band, and they were doing more of an independent attempt at their career because they had just been screwed over by a major label in a financial thing. So it was like, when I had gotten the part there, the singer fell in love with me and was like, we were just like, when you hear about the 2 band members that are just party hardy, the ones that get in the most fucking trouble, that was me and Taki Sasaris from Eve to Adam. And, that band was a lot of fun, but that band allowed me to just go even further in my alcoholism and in my drug use. And that band allowed me to also dive even further, Jacques Cousteau levels, into my delusion that I'm a rock star. Like it was so bad, but like it was all like I when you it was making sense to me. I had a celebrity girlfriend at the time, this chick named Megan that was a tattoo artist that had a shop that was like kind of a celebrity. So I'm with this girl. I'm in this band. We're doing these tours. We're playing these shows. I'm doing drugs. Everything's fine. It's like when you're in it, you're like this. It's all working out, Lawrence. It's all working out. That ultimately imploded big time. The drugs had gotten to the singer's brain for sure, because he started taking a full-on rock band, which at the time we were crushing. The new record we had just recorded with Elvis Basquet down in Florida was insane. It was really great work. I have some excellent writing on that record. If you ever have a chance, check out their whatever they have released. What they did was we did a whole record. We spent 2 months down in Florida recording this thing, and then when we came back, the EDM wave was starting to really come up right around this time. And there were EDM guys remixing rock bands with their EDM styles. Taki sat us down after we finished the record. We got back to Queens, and he had a band meeting, and he said, "All right, guys, this is what I'm gonna do." Now you gotta remember, Taki's brother Alex was the drummer, his fucking brother, and he sat us down in this meeting and said, "I'm taking these tracks. I'm gonna hire this guy. He's gonna turn them into EDM remixes, and we're gonna tour on those remixes." And I was like, you just spent $75,000 and 2 months of my life recording epic guitars, drums, vocals on a record with a platinum level fucking producer. And now you're going to pay some fucking dildo $1,500 who lives in England, you never even met the guy, to remix your record with this EDM sound. And then you want me to go tour on it. So he hadn't even showed us the sample yet. So then he played the music of what this guy had done. And I literally, dude, in the meeting, I got up outside. Goodbye. I quit. I quit right there. He had taken his brother had worked so hard on playing those parts perfect. He worked night and day while we were out there in Florida, stressing himself out because we're working. Elvis Baskett, I don't know if you know, Elvis Baskett did Make Yourself, Incubus. He did Seven Dust. He's got platinum records out there. It's ridiculous. Going into this guy's studio, I was shitting a brick. This was like one of my biggest accomplishments to date was walking into that guy's studio. Taki's brother worked so hard on those drums, so hard. I was in the drum room every day with him, and because Elvis didn't have a drum room on his facility, so we had to outsource to another drum room that he used for all of his other records out there in Florida. So we're paying extra to do that. The pressure's on. Alex has a week now to nail 11 songs. So we went through all of that, and Taki, they literally, the guy who made the EDM rip, pulled all the drums out and replaced them with that EDM kick, that stupid Nintendo sounding kick. And he took all the stems for the guitar tracks and moved them all around in different, nothing made sense. And it was Taki just too much drugs, too much delusion, too much vanity. I don't know what it was, but this dude was convinced that this was gonna make the band. And I got up and I quit. My bass player that I brought into the band with me backstabbed me and stayed. The other guitar player stayed. Alex, the drummer, quit with me. He couldn't believe this. But Alex was the one financing the band. So at the end of the day, when I quit the band, I ended up being totally exiled out of the group completely. And Alex continued to fund the band while Taki filled it with half-assed drummers for the next 3 years until, Taki now, last time I heard, and, I'm not one to really talk on, but these guys kind of really screwed me. But, Taki now is, from what I hear, a terrible meth addict. And is thrown his complete life away, And but I'm happy that I had stood up in that meeting and stood up for what I believed in because I was not going to go out and embarrass myself and tour on that thing. So then that was 2015, 2017. I quit that band, got into a further drug cycle, and then I got clean from my main drug, which my main drug was cocaine. I got clean from my main drug. My fiance kind of helped me, really do that. It was a lot of credits on her. And I joined a band called Oogee Wawa. A friend of mine from high school hit me up and said, "Hey, man, I heard you moved back to the island. I don't. You're probably going to say no, but would you consider playing with us? You want to join the band?" And they were touring. They were an alternative reggae band. Total like north-south from what I had now been doing for the past decade and a half. He's like, we're gonna do a record. He's like, you can write. We'd love to have you. And I was like, I'm like, send me your tunes. I'll start learning some of your tunes, and then we'll see what happens. So they sent me their tunes. A week, two later, I went on. They did like a booze cruise kind of ferry show like once or twice a year. So they invited me to that to go watch while this other drummer was filling in for them. It was like one of the other guitar players that I would be replacing his last shows.
Gotcha.
So I'm watching, I'm having a great time. Like, this is sick, man. I smoke weed, so everyone's fucking smoking weed. It's just like totally different vibe than the rock world. Like, there's no drama. It felt like it was sick, and I had learned like enough of the music where they had asked me to come up that night and actually jump on one of the songs as the new player, and they announced me as their new player on that cruise, and it was a fucking sweet moment. I was like, this is sick, and did a record with those guys here on Long Island. And that band was just kind of filled with a lot of guys that were very much already sewn into this work ethic of not that they didn't work that hard. They definitely, when I joined the band, they knew where I came from, and they really like turned up their shit for that first year. And rehearsals were tight, things were tight, but the alcohol really started to come into play really heavily. With certain members, the drama started to happen, and then ultimately, COVID, was here, and that kind of, that fell apart in its own way, and that was it. That was it for live bands for me, and then I got into the streaming thing, and now I've been streaming. So now I have I built this place here, and I have constantly been wanting to put together this idea of having a place for bands to come uh, and record not only the audio but video and live stream it all simultaneously at the same time. And kind of like, have you ever heard of the Sugar Shack sessions on YouTube?
Mm-mm.
If you're not, check them out. They were the inspiration where I got this from, and they do this primarily with just like reggae bands in an acoustic form. So, you show up to their place, they have like a room, that they dress up and make look nice. You got your bistro lights, a couple of the fake plants kind of deals, and they set you up with an amazing sound. They mic everything. They got a really great thing. So it's a lot of gear. It's a lot of shit like that. And then they film, they got 2 or 3 different cameras on a gimbal, on a slider, and they film your performance. You do 4 or 5 tunes, live performances with you and your guys, and it all gets captured and packaged into this one little thing, and then boom, here you go. And in 2025 right now, man, that's to me, it feels like it's just the culmination of just everything that I've been doing is getting to this. So I just spent $1,000 and bought myself an X32 rack mount digital mixer. We're going to start off small with a couple of acoustic acts. I'm now tying this in with my video production company, so it's like I can mic them up here, dress the background, light it professionally, film it professionally, and then I can stream it to my TikTok page, which has close to 500,000 followers. So it's like all of these little things that I've been doing over the years are really just starting to add up, and now I'm just combining all of this knowledge, all of this skill, all of this hard work and dedication, and all of my mistakes and everything I just told you, and applying that to my business and applying that to other artists, so I don't fuck other artists like I was royally fucked. But that's me, man. I have 2 little projects here. I have a group of jujitsu friends of mine that I train with, that they were all very green musicians. So I started a band called Sweaty Already, and I brought them in, and how I got to know they were musicians was like, oh, hey, Ashley, do you do anything with music? Yeah, I sing a little bit. I was like, okay, cool. You want to come over, try jamming? She comes over, playing acoustic, start jamming. And then, our buddy Glenn, he's like, he's like really cocky, but like the nicest guy like you'll ever meet. He's like, I've got a great voice, and I was like, all right, Glenn, bring your guitar over, and through the past couple of years, couple of drummers, couple of things, and we've been locked down, now with 4 primary members, and it's been like cool for me because I basically have just been all of my experience in how to write music, how to use the gear, even down to the simple things, how to just use a mic stand. I had to show Ashley how to use her mic stand. All of these things I've just been like showing these kids. They're in their 20s, so they're all like 26 somewhere in there. So they're like kids to me in like a sense, but so that's been really cool, and it's been really fun, and we're starting to write. They're going to be, they've been part of my whole transition and the evolution of this place. And I have another drummer from Scotland that had just moved here, got his citizenship, and me and him are writing really solid. Where our goal is to write solid original music to release and to see what happens there. If I can take that to a show perspective, I absolutely will. But it's in its very very early stages. But what the future holds, who knows, man? It's it's nice to be able to take everything I know and apply it and see this stuff come out in the end.
Wow. Well, I mean, it seems like you got your future. You're constantly looking ahead.
Yeah, yeah. Well, when she's in the position that she's in, when it comes to your health, I'm chronically sick now with Lyme disease. You have no choice. Like, you need to look, you need to plan ahead, you need to be prepared, you need to know what your next step is, because I got to work through my sickness with all this stuff. I don't get to just sleep for a week. I have to wake up every day and be on my 2 feet and be there for myself and for her. So this needs to work. It's like it needs to work. So the endless amount of time and things that I put on it just, every time I complete that one project, it's like, all right, here we go. So my main goal is to be that old man musician that's like fully gray hair, tattoos, and it's like, yo, are you going to Old Man LC's studio to go cut your shit, man? Like, that place is legendary. Like, that's what I want people to talk about my spot.
You're gonna be like Muscle Shoals.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That would be awesome.
Hmm.
That would be awesome. If my name can be attached to something like that when I'm long gone, that'd be awesome. So that's all I got,
Right.
man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just from everything I've seen and stuff, I can tell you put in the work, and everything's so organized. And I mean, I haven't seen a lot of your earlier stuff because I've probably only been on there for a couple years and stuff. But before you hit me up, your stuff would come up on my For You page a lot.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
knew who you were before.
Yeah, that was back when TikTok was pushing us. It seems like it's hard to get viewership on videos nowadays. It gets rough. When I do like the higher quality guitar videos, I did one recently of the Jambi solo with the talk box. Like, those videos tend to take off and get some traction. I was relearning the Crazy Train solo. That actually has like 12,000 views on YouTube. That was one of my most viewed videos I have on YouTube, which I've really started to try to grow on YouTube over the past couple of years. Since that TikTok ban happened, kind of scared creators like us, because we were like, oh, well, if we can't go live here anymore, where the fuck am I going to go live? So building and trying to get to a spot where I can monetize on YouTube that's challenging too. They want 10 million short view hours.
Right.
Like, what the hell? Like, you want 10 million? Like, get out of here, man. You guys are crazy, but whatever. It's worth, I'm never gonna go viral for crap. That's the thing. I'm here to put out skill, to put out quality. I'm not here to to ride somebody else's coattails on some bullshit.
Yeah, a lot of stuff I make, it's like it's hard to find that balance of wanting to put out quality stuff and then also be respectful to the artist, but also want it to be good enough that they'll push it out so other people can see it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you should do all right, but most of us are so narcissistic that we just can't help but put out shit that has our face on it. You know what I mean? I'll admit that I'm definitely I'm working on it. But you have to be a narcissist to some degree to do what I do. Like, you just have to. Um, but I try to keep that honed in, to be too much of a vain asshole. But again, that's why, like, the content I put out, it's always more geared toward what I'm doing than what I'm saying. It's I or even what I look like or anything. It's just, it's about what we're playing here, and how much attention that I'm putting toward Adam Jones, the respect for the band Tool, the respect. And if you know Tool fans, they're they're hardcore. They are hardcore. They know the band inside and out. They have very strong feelings about the band's music, the lyrical content, how you play the parts, the gear you use, everything. They're cult. They're cult. To be finally accepted by them, it took a few years. I'll say that it definitely took a few years to get accepted by Tool fans, but to finally be there and to be kind of like an active name in the Tool community. There's people like Jordan Carver, what's her name, Naya, I think her name is. Like we're creators that like now you're starting to hear Tool and you will think of me, or you'll think of this person, you'll think of that. I'm super grateful for that, and that's I have to thank all of the followers and supporters and Tool fans alike that have been to my stream, have recognized what I do, and have told other people about it, because word travels. It definitely travels, and it's it's I can't mention names, but we have confirmation that the band has seen us do our thing.
Awesome. Did you ever get any resolution from your copyright thing?
No, so I'm playing a game with that. And it sucks because it's unfair for the viewers on YouTube that come to my stream. Because what I'm doing now is, as soon as that warning pops up, so it'll give me a warning. It'll say, "We've noticed that you're using somebody else's music." As soon as that warning pops up, I mute the stream on the YouTube side. So then all of a sudden now it's like you're just hearing nothing and watching this. But then their algorithm, because it's an algorithm that is constantly processing. So once the algorithm hears mute, it gives me back the green light, and then I just unmute, and then we're back to the races for however long that will last. As far as getting information from YouTube, nope, no one has gotten back to me. I did speak with a wonderful girl named Brooke at BMI. Had a nice conversation with her. ASCAP is mostly responsible for Tool's music, with the exception of a couple of songs. And the labels and ASCAP are the ones that really enforce that stuff. I technically should be allowed to play this music because YouTube has certain licenses in place to allow certain things to happen. You know what I mean? There's like these fair use rights, and there's all this kind of stuff. I manipulate the track, so I actually take Adam's guitar tracks out of all the music that you hear me play, and it's just my guitars that are in there. So I'm always trying to fall under fair use and educational use, because I talk about the parts. I'm talking in between songs. I'm not charging an admission. I do not market this in any way, shape, or form to be, you need to pay to see this. There's no, I don't really cross any lines that they have. They have, and through my conversations with multiple people, it just seems that the grand consensus on everything is Tool and their label specifically are very, very difficult to work with. And to try to get somebody on the phone at ASCAP is also being told to me is kind of difficult too. So I'm stuck there, but it's also weird too. Like on Toolsday this past Friday, the first 2.5 hours of my stream, 3 hours of my 2.5 hours of my stream, I had no problems. And then I because like every time we hit a live goal, I'll put on some other song, like a funnier song. I have like a whole playlist of like random stuff that we've developed over the years that people like. And the Tooligans started falling in love with 369 by 369. It's like that. It's like a twerking song,
Yin Yang Twins.
Little John, or whatever, yeah.
Yeah.
So like they like that, and I'm in costume. I'm twerking. The lights are going all crazy. We blow off a confetti cannon. We're having fun. I actually got banged for that, and I only play about a minute of that because now, since I made my copyright post about that, I've been really paying attention to YouTube Studio, where they give you full on analytics. They update you on what's being copyrighted. They give you a full breakdown on all. They know every freaking song I play, who it is, who the artist is, who represents that. They give you this whole breakdown, and it's either green check, no conflict, or conflict, red. And the only conflict I had on Tuesday, but I had to keep muting people because of the one conflict. So was that song was 369, right? But every other song, so it's at 369, like, and 2 hours in, and then it says, schism, bottom, blah, 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 lateralis, all green. So they just kept muting me regardless that the song wasn't even playing after that. You know what I mean? So they heard the song in the live. They started to want to mute me. So then I mute them. They clear, but then they'll mute me again. I'll think it's because of the song I'm playing, whether it's Numa or Intolerance or whatever. I'll think it's the song I'm playing, but I won't know until afterwards and check the analytics and see. Oh shit! It's so I don't even know how it's working. And I don't even think the people that were trying to explain it to me know how it's working either. I'll end on this really. I've been noticing, it's greed is just every time I get to the end of something that I've been chasing and doing pattern recognition and trying to like figure out like what the fuck, it ends up in some greedy position that is just financially driven, and to see YouTube ask a no-name creator to have 10 million short views before they can monetize, yet some of the content that you see get pushed has nothing to do with anything that advances the American way, it really starts to make me question everything. So I'm not tripping on YouTube muting me. I don't want to get banned for copyright because I don't want to lose my channel. So I'll just keep doing the muting thing. But it's not like they're open. Like when I go live, they open up my room to thousands of people. Like I have still not hit over 35 people in my room on YouTube. It's been at it now over 2 years. I've had the channel close to 4 years, over 4 years. So the games you have to play, boost your channel. What are we doing here? What is organic growth? Because I've been at it for a while, and I'm still one of those creators. Like I feel bad for creators underneath me that don't even have half the stuff that I have got going on. They're playing to 10 people, good ass musicians that deserve way more of an audience, playing to 10 people. Why? But the girl, and I keep using this as an example, the girl showing her feet.
Right.
She got 1,000 people in that room. Little Asian girl in a white T-shirt selling a T-shirt on TikTok shop down in a live on her knees. She's got 2,000 people in there.
I find it hard to get female artists on here because, if they play music and they're female, they have so many followers that, I get lost in the DMs or trying to comment or find, I've had a couple on, but yeah, it's hard work to get, especially on TikTok. I feel like.
Yeah. I'll pump you out to, I got a couple of artists on TikTok that I think you should talk to that you would probably have good conversations with. And even female, like even stray millennial who I talked to yesterday, you probably would have a great conversation with her. She's a '90s baby, that's super level headed. She's a musician, she's a singer, guitar player. And I met her on the app. I've known her 3 years. Yesterday was our first interview, but we've developed this just like cool musician friendly back and forth. She likes when I do funny videos or I'm ripping certain things on. There's a lot of good people on the TikTok app that you'll just never see because they don't get pushed.
Right. That too. Yeah. And like,
Yeah, and The only ones that are getting pushed are the people that do those battles that are just pathetic. It's just people begging for money. Like, gift me now, gift me now. It's like you're not doing anything. You're not even fucking juggling. Like you're doing nothing. You're just like, gift me now. Come on, we gotta hit this goal now. Do it. Come on, go, do it. Come on, guy. Oh, come on, guy. Are you guys kidding me? Like some of the shit I see in it breaks my heart because it makes me look bad. You know, I know I'm not alone with majority of the people that see those beggars that are like just grossed out, especially when you know another creator that you know works hard at what they do and they get 5, 10 people in their room, but then this fucking person is doing bullshit and it's just overloaded.
I'll see people asleep.
Yeah. And then, you know, TikTok, yeah, we changed our community guidelines. We're going to do this so people can't do this and this anymore. It's like, no, yeah, all you're doing is just like narrowing this funnel to direct people to exactly where you want it. That's all you're doing. And what you want is your TikTok shop. I think TikTok shop is rivaling like Amazon or something. Don't quote me on that at all.
I can believe it, yeah.
But it's up there. You know, people are utilizing, and I mean, good. TikTok's smart for exploiting every freaking how many billion people that use that thing to be their own personal sales reps. You know, and back to Joe Blow selling the wireless guitar thing. It's like, guy, you don't know what you're talking about. That thing's garbage. It might sound good with you in your bedroom at your mom's house, but if you were to take that out to a club venue with any other RF frequency in the area, that thing's going to cut out and sound like garbage. What's an RF frequency? Oh. You know, it's like, you know, that's just one, that's a example.
It's a whole nother world, man.
And it is. It is. It's fun. I'm still having fun.
I guess that's what it boils down to. If you still get excited to get on here and make content, then it's all right?
Yeah, I definitely, you know, when Toolsday comes around, I'm stoked. You know, it's an event here at the house. I call my house my green room on the day of Toolsday because this is my fucking green room. You know, like my room, I got a kitchen, I got a bathroom, I got everything I need. You know, and there's a whole workup, you know, for the day as we get closer to 7 o'clock. You know, getting the practice in, restringing, getting everything done. You know, it's fun. It gives me all the really awesome elements of my touring days, and being a musician and being in that position to perform for people. It's all those really good things, just minus that real, true being on the stage feeling. That's the only thing that, you know. It's like, yeah, it's like virtual porn. It might get you by, but it's never going to be as good as the real thing. You know what I mean? I'm so grateful to just be able to have an outlet to keep playing because it got dark there, man. Like I was like, what do I do? What the fuck do I do? So grateful to have this, and really excited to watch where it's going to continue to go because, you know, I have just proven myself over and over again that, you know, sky is the limit. You know, and even beyond. I think James Webb is proving that the sky is not the limit. If any of that's true, who the fuck knows, man?
What do you think's a good timeline on when you would start doing some of your production stuff?
Well, doing this stuff. Well, I just got the X32 today, so you know, I spent 2 hours cursing and freaking out, you know, just trying to get my Wi-Fi hooked up to the damn thing. But I have I got a buddy coming up in a couple weeks with his dude. My friend Jerry plays with a guy named TJ Rosenthal out of like Brooklyn, Queens area. And he's like an old school punk that's doing kind of like Johnny Cash style music now, talking about his days and his experiences and stuff. And Jerry is a retired New York City police officer. He just retired this year, but he has been a major guitar enthusiast his entire life. He's got some of the nicest guitars you've ever seen, some boutique amps. He's got Gibsons that are older than me and you combined. you know, and he's a good player, and he's, you know, he's one of those guys that always wanted to be in a band, but chose career, but kept everything kind of close, kept that music love really close, never lost it, and now that he's retired, he's really expanding on it. And they have a resident gig at a bar out there in Brooklyn, and or Queens, it is, Brooklyn. And so he's got a resident gig that he plays like once every 2 weeks there. They write music. So I'm going to bring those guys up here. They're going to be my first two guinea pigs. We're going to get them all mic'd up, get some good practice with them, video, and do that stream. I'm going to rename the stream on TikTok, and I'm going to make some videos promoting that, the my music showcase, or something that's not cliche. I really got to think of. I'm hoping within the next like month or two to really have an artist or two up at its base, and then start building it from there.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. If there's anything I can do with that or help you out with or whatever.
Yeah, man. I definitely will let you know. It's going to be interesting. It's, financially, it's my God, but it's. I believe that it's all going to pay off, and it's like, again, just like we said, it's I love doing this shit. So I love sitting here playing with gear all day and making things sound and look nice. It's just kind of my thing now.
I feel like if it's something you love, then it's easier to be more successful at it.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, because it doesn't feel like a job. It's just like it's just natural. It's just like breathing. Thirsty. Oh, time to go play guitar.
I tried real hard. I found a bubbly, but I was trying to find a Spindrift earlier.
There you go.
But,
yeah. You keep it. They're really good, dude. I know Stop and Shop's got them, and you can order them on Amazon too, or Target. Target, yeah, Target. You can order them from. But Spindrifts have been good, and I feel like it's been helping my vertigo a little bit because I think we want to say it was the natural flavors, because that's all they leave you with on the can. They're just like natural flavors. Like, okay, but what the fuck is it in a natural flavor? Like, there's got to be some bromide, blah blah blah, sulfur. Who knows, And so cutting that stuff out has been pretty cool. I mean, keep drinking Spindrift till I hear some bullshit about that.
Yeah.
But that's me in a nutshell as a musician, man.
All right. Well, appreciate you coming on, man, and reaching out. And
thank you for having me, Dan. Appreciate it, buddy.
Yeah, I'll look forward to Toolsday. And you're on everything, right? You're on.
Yeah, I'm on primarily TikTok, Twitch, Instagram, and YouTube.
All right, man. Well, I'll check you later. All right, bud.
Thanks, Dan. Have a good one.